Jule Islam, good evening everyone. So today is the day 2 of our online technical sessions. Today we have three speakers. Shri Shabir Ahmed, he is a senior scientist at DRDO Dehradun, and Dr. Tsewang Namgyal, Director Snow Leopard Conservatory Trust, and Shri Nawang Thinles, Managing Director HRECF, and Chairman CIA Lay. So today's session will be moderated by Menas Jabin, and she is from Leh. She has done her MSc in Geoinformatics from Terry. I request Menas to carry on with the program. Menas.
Okay, sir. Julie Samala. Good evening, everyone. So, I welcome you all for the second day of the technical session for the very first ever Ladakh Science Camp 2021. My name is Mehnaz Jabin, and I'm a postgraduate in Geography and Geoinformatics from Terry School of Advanced Studies and a member of Ladakh Science Foundation. So, as all of our curiosities have brought us all here to explore and obtain insights of our very own land, Ladakh, in a scientific way, I would like to start this session by welcoming our speakers, Shri Shabir Ahmed, who is a senior scientist of Instruments Research and Development Establishment DRDO Dehradun, Dr. Tsewang Namgyal, Director of Snow Leopard Conservancy Trust, Leh, and Shri Nawang Thinles, Managing Director of Himalayan Renewable Energy and Construction Firm, Director of Ladakh Science Foundation, and Chairman Confederation of Indian Industry, Leh. So now I would like to call upon Shri Shabir Ahmed to speak on tactical technologies and career prospects in DRDO. So before he takes over, I would like to introduce him briefly to you all. He is a senior scientist from Leh with a work experience of 20 years in the field of design and development of stabilization technology for military-grade electro-optical systems for tanks, helicopters, UAVs, and warships. He was awarded for Defense Ministry Excellence in 2011, DRDO Best Futuristic Excellence in 2017 and 18. He has achieved Group Technology Award in 2010, 2016 and 17, and he has been the Scientist of the Year in 2015. He is also responsible for the transfer of technology for two different systems to renowned Indian industries, and has guided more than 50 engineering students for their dissertations and industrial training in DRDO. Sale, kindly take over.
Thank you, Manas. Thank you very much. Once again, thanks to Ladakh Science Foundation for giving me the opportunity to interact with the students community who are having definitely a bent of minds and scientific temperaments. And so I welcome all the students of Ladakh region for this technical session. So I'll just share my presentation. Now I've taken this topic, two different topics, and I have clubbed into one. First is I'll speak about the technical technologies in which I'm particularly involved. And after that, what are the career prospects in the DRDO? Because I just want to give a glimpse of the technologies which particularly I am involved and DRDO is involved.
Recording in progress.
And this way, I just want to ignite your minds that because I have been, I've studied right from schooling to higher secondary in Leh only. So I was one among you, and then later on I came to DRDO. I'll just go ahead. Now, my topics which I'll broadly cover will be the objective of this talk, of course, then technical technologies, career prospects in DRDO, and the various facilities which we can avail in DRDO. And there must be some curious, so I will welcome all the curious later on. And the objective is to create awareness of defense technology And I just want to show the various interesting aspect of a defense scientist. Once I say I am a scientist, people just get bogged down. It's not like that. It's a very interesting field. It's not tough also. I'll just go through and so that you can come across. I just throw a light on that path. Because whenever we say we are a scientist, we are a defense scientist, we work in R&D institutes, so people generally, just think that it's a big thing. He must be a big shot. He must be having a very, it requires a very good knowledge or something like that. It's not like that. So if you hard work, you definitely achieve. So I want to motivate you people to work in defense R&D sectors. Rest than we have got so many R&D sectors, public R&D sectors are there, pharmaceutical R&D sectors are there, but defense R&D sector is altogether a different ballgame. I just want to touch on that. And this, I used to like this very much from right from my schooling times. So I used to dream a lot. So you people have to dream. There is no harm in dreaming. And it's a very good saying that one who dreams more does more. It's a fact. So please don't stop dreaming. So if you see the modern warfare, we have seen the Gulf War. I hope all have seen the Gulf War. It was live telecast. Iraq and all types of systems, radars, all these things were used. So somewhere of land-based, somewhere sea-based, and somewhere air-based. And there's a very good coordination. There has to be a very good coordination with all these three, land, sea, and air defenses in order to win a war. So I'll just touch a brief on that so that talk will be very interesting for you. So for example, for land warfare, when we say land warfare, then we just comes to mind is that tanks. We have got man battle tank Arjun. India has developed man battle tank Arjun. It is equivalent to T-90 of Russia. So I got the opportunity of working with T-90 MBT Arjun. And similarly, artillery, you have heard about Bofors gun. You have heard about Bofors gun. So similarly, that is an artillery gun, right? So we have got similar artillery gun DRDO has developed. It's known as ATACS, Advanced Artillery Gun System. It is developed by one of our lab, ARDE Pune, and I got again an opportunity to work in that gun also. Then we have got missile systems. Okay, there are so many missile systems: land to air to air, surface to air. So from ocean to air, there are lots of missile systems are there. So these are the few of the weapon systems we generally use for land-based warfare. Then comes the aerial warfare, generally known as air warfare. In air warfare will be missile from aircraft to air to air to surface. Then we call it smart bombs. Smart bombs are nothing. The old bombs of World War II and later on, those bombs were not so smart. They were just dropped. Nowadays, it's not possible to just drop, go to the enemy land and just drop that bombs. Before dropping that bomb, you will be fired off. So these bombs are made smart. They have to be smart. So it was, this bomb has been retrofitted with smart gadgets in order to shoot from our own land to the enemy land. Then we have got surveillance systems like UAVs, drones. You've heard recently, this United Arab Emirates, they got a very big blow when a UAV with a bomb came and destroyed all their major oil reserves. So these are the tactical areas where air warfare systems work. And I'm very fortunate that I worked in few areas. I'll talk about it, keeping all my integrity intact. Then again, sea warfare. Sea warfare, if you see, ships are there, like all these P-17 class ships, warships. They are used for ship warfare. Then submarine. We have got Ariane submarine. India is making Ariane submarine, and it has been already launched. And in that also, then we use missiles and then we use torpedoes. So I got opportunity to work with the ships of P-17 class, and I got the Raksha Mantri Excellence Award in this particular class of work in P-17 project. I have done one P-17 project. We have done one P-17 project, and we have developed a very good system. And I have got a Raksha Mantri Excellence Award in year 2011 for this project also. So being in DRDO, you have got the opportunity to work in all the tri-services of India, whether it's Indian Army, whether it's Indian Air Force, whether it's Indian Navy. You have got the opportunity, you will get the opportunity to work. That I'll let you know how it is happen. How is it possible to work a single person in all three domains? I'll let you know. Now again, there is a very interesting field which is emerging nowadays, and that is a cyber warfare. It is much more dangerous than all these three. You see, with this cyber warfare, everybody is affected. Even I, you, your father, your relatives, everybody is affected. If our email is hacked, it is very dangerous. If our bank account is hacked, it's again a very dangerous. All nuclear power plants, all thermal power plants has to be, protected from this cyber warfare. All the industries, big industries, if our banking system, suppose if say India has got a very good banking systems, now all the banking has been gone digitized. If this banking system has been attacked, suppose State Bank of India has been attacked by some cyber warfare, say some our enemy country, what will happen? For 2-3 days, banking business will stop. Now just imagine how much amount of money we waste. It will be, if you calculate, it will comes into billions of dollars per day. So that's again an attack on the economy of the country. So this is very important, cyber warfare. So DRDO is working in the cyber warfare field, and we have got a dedicated lab which works on the cyber warfare. Now a situation will come. Expert says the situation will come. This cyber warfare will be so much dangerous that the person sitting in a chair and he will say, okay, you people come back. For all the soldiers, there is no need to go. I'll attack that country sitting in my chair. It's possible. It's 100% possible. Now future is like this only. So that is known as digital war. This is known as digital war. So we have to be very cautious, even when you are doing internet banking, even if you are watching Google, if you Google it, you have to be very cautious what web page you are opening, because each and every eyes are on you. So you have to be very wisely open the web pages. You should not land up in some mess at the later stage of life. So this is also very important. So DRDO is also working in cyber warfare. Now, these are the broad, domain knowledge. I'm having a very vast domain knowledge in all these three fields, in the Air Force, in the Navy. How it's possible like this? I'm working with the electrical systems. I'm working on these similar products. Okay, we are making similar products, and I'm the group head of this particular division in which we make this sort of system. So this system we make for tanks application also. We make for ships also. We make for aircrafts and choppers and UAVs also, and we make for missiles also. So by this way, I have got the opportunity to interact with all the tri-services of our country. So that is blessed to me by Almighty that I'm in such an organization, and up to that I'm in such an laboratory where this, and particularly in the particular group in which I'm working, this sort of activity is done. Now I'll show you where it has been used. Now this is tank. This is MBT Arjun tank. If you see that circle, that is a commander's panoramic sight. And on down below, which is not visible, we have got gunner's main sight. It has been developed by us only. And this is MBT Arjun tank. So I work very, day and night in this tank. Recently, we have got the upgraded version. And what happens is that once you develop a system, then becomes generation 1 system, generation 2 system, generation 3. We keep always on updating. Now we are working on futuristic MBTs. So I'm working on that part also. Then this is the tank, land-based application where I'm working. So then comes the naval platform. For naval platform, this picture is the actual picture of P-17 class warship that is known as Shivalek. India has got 3 warships, stealth warships. Stealth means which is not visible to radar also. So I got the opportunity in working with these warships. I've worked with INS Satpura, INS Shivalek, and INS Sayadri. All 3 I worked. And when I say work, means when we start from the scratch, design, develop, and test. After that, we go for trials also. The beauty of this being a defense scientist, that we work with, suppose in this particular Indian Navy project, I have been with Indian Navy for sales for a month altogether. We used to be in the sea for the trials. That is known as SAT, Sea Acceptance Trials. During Sea Acceptance Trials, we have to go work with this Indian Navy, and they fire all the missiles on all the, they do all these exercises. I don't want to speak too much on that part. So they do all these exercises, and I was a member of that particular team, being a mechanical designer of the particular system. So it is very interesting. I cannot, tell you in words, express you in words how much the profile of the job is. Then comes the UAVs. UAVs, you might have heard about UAVs and UCAVs. UAVs is unmanned aerial vehicle, and UCAVs is unmanned combat aerial vehicle. The difference is that in UCAV we have got ammunition also on board. In UAV we have got only one payload, that is surveillance system. So India has developed Rustam, developed by Bangalore lab. It's a AD Bangalore. So I worked in that, and we have developed our system. We have proven our system. So we have, and DRDO has got its own, we have got our own airport. It's 150 kilometers from Bangalore. That is Chitradurga. So I worked with the Rustam also. Then we make similar system for the choppers, helicopters also. Like for ALH, for this developed by HAL Kanpur and HAL Bangalore, we developed these sort of systems. Then one more interesting thing is that the missile systems, even our system which we make, electro-optical system, or we call it gimbal system, they are used also for the missiles, for laser homing part. The missiles which are based on laser homing, they use this sort of guidance. Now, the interesting part is that in all these things, specification comes from the user. Our user is Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy. We have got paramilitary forces also like ITBF, ITBP, and CRPF. So they give us the request, and based on their request and their specification, we call it GSPR. We develop a system that is known as prototypes. Once we develop the prototypes, we go for testings, because there is say for example UAV and choppers. Though the system will look like a similar, but it's not like that. Even for this choppers, it has got different disturbances pattern, and UAV have got different disturbance pattern. So we have to see so many things are there. Like again, after developing the systems, once it is tested, then we have to go for the clearance of certification part. So you might have heard about DGCA, Semilac certification. There are so many agencies which are involved in the design and development of a particular product. So once you reach to a level in DRDO, say I have done my 20 years, so we reach to a level where we are associated with various certification agencies also. We have to clear our system from them. Yes, your system is safe. Now you can use this system in this aircraft, these choppers, the ships, these tanks. It is not going to affect the platform itself. So it is very interesting, highly challenging, and it's a very interesting field. Now, with this, just a brief introduction. I'm extremely sorry I cannot tell you too much about all these things. I hope you people will understand the inside part of the DRDO. We cannot speak too much, but whatever I'm projecting on the screen is from the open source, which I'm flashing down the slide. Now I'll just touch upon the career prospects of DRDO, which definitely you people must be looking for. So DRDO, if you see, we have got amalgam. You have got a logo of DRDO, and it's clearly written. Our motto is that Balasya Mulyam Vigyanam in the center of this logo. That is science. The source of strength is science. Okay, it's clearly written. Now, if you see what is the vision of DRDO, though different laboratories has got different vision, it has got different vision, and it has got different mission, but in totality DRDO has got this vision that empowering India with cutting edge defense technology. This is our vision. We have to provide our armed forces with the cutting edge defense technology, and our mission is to design and develop and to lead our production state-of-the-art sensors, weapon systems, platforms, and lead equipments for our defense services. As I told you that we are making only prototypes. We as a DRDO laboratory, we make only prototypes. Once our prototype is proven, then we give transfer of technology. We transfer the technology to our industries like L&T, like Tata, like Mahindra, like Satyam are there. There are so many companies. Small companies are also like Benench, like VEM Technologies Hyderabad, There are so many companies in India, Alpha Technologies, Hyderabad. So they absorb our technology, and then they do the production of this particular equipments. Bharat Electronics is the biggest private company. It's a semi-private company, you can say. It's a semi-government company which does the productionization of DRDO developed product. So then we provide technological solutions also to optimize combat effectiveness and promote well-being of the troops. So that's why you have seen there are so many labs of DRDO. We are from the core engineering lab. I belong to a core engineering lab, but there are supporting labs also. In Leh, we have got one lab, that is agriculture lab. That is our supporting lab to our defense troops, because agriculture is also very important. So I'll come in the future slide. So the next is the develop infrastructure and committed quality manpower and build strong indigenous technology. Now this indigenous is very important. If you see, I'll just show you, these are the products which we developed as an indigenous. Okay, my system, it costs 3 to 5 crores. In the same system, the first thing is that only a few countries in the world are there who make this sort of systems. And if I say that for the land-based application, if I buy from this, say, USA or France or Israel, they will sell not less than 10 to 12 crore. Now their difference in the price, I'll sell at our post to our Indian Army will be 2 to 3 crores. They sell at 10 to 12 crores. Now you see the difference in price, number one. Number two, after buying, we have to make it work. It will not happen that after 1 year it will go bad. So once it is gone wrong, they charge heavily just to replace. You won't believe. Last time I was in HL Kanpur, so there we make aircrafts. Okay, that aircraft has got some certification from some France company. So just to change the screw or bolt, they charge 1,500 rupees. We cannot change a bolt. Once we buy products from the third party, or say we buy from France, we buy from Germany, or we buy from Russia, then we cannot change. Even for a screw, we have to depend on them. And they charge heavily. Just to that screw, which will cost not more than 10 to 15 rupees, they charge 1,500 rupees, 2,000 rupees, like that. So we have to technically, this is just a small example which I'm showing. We have to be technologically, we have to be our own technologically. We should not be dependent on anybody. Now, if I say how DRDO is grouped, so basically we have got 7 technology clusters in DRDO. Now this slide is very important. You people have to understand this. First is the naval systems and material. There is one cluster. In this cluster, there will be 5 to 6, 7 labs, up to 7 labs. They will work only for the naval systems. Okay. Then that cluster will have one director general. All the labs have got one director. Then that cluster will have one director general. And one cluster head will control 6 to 7 labs. Then we have got aeronautical systems. So again, in aeronautical, there will be 5 to 6 laboratories are there. Then we have got armament and combat. So like aeronautical, there is some few labs in Bangalore. AD, Bangalore, ADA are there. Most of them are situated in Bangalore only. Like for armament and combat, it's in Chennai. CVRD, it's in Chennai. ARD is again in Pune. Similarly, for missile and strategic systems, we have got RCI. That is known as Kalam Complex. Dr. Kalam, it's in the name of Dr. Kalam. He was the director of RCI. So in Hyderabad, it is in Hyderabad. So we have got all the Hyderabad labs are situated in Hyderabad. That is in missile and strategic systems comes. Then we have got electronics and communication system, ECS. So in DRDO, we have in Dehradun, we have got 2 laboratories. One is DEAL and IRD. Both comes under electronics clusters. Then comes the life science. So in this life science, one of the lab is situated in Leh. DR now it's known. Earlier it used to known to be FRL. That's DR. So it has got few more labs. Like in Gwalior is there. Now in Debel, it's Bangalore. There is one more lab known as Debel. It's there. Then there is one more lab, microelectronic devices, computational system, and cyber systems. I told you about the cyber warfare. So we have got one more cluster dedicated to this cyber warfare and microelectronic devices. So these are the few of the technology clusters and research centers. So there will be approximately 50 plus research centers in India in these particular clusters. So the best part of this DRDO is that, as I've already told you, that we get the opportunity to work with the tri-services. So if you are very keen to work in defense and you don't have the opportunity, or you didn't got that opportunity to go through NDA and to join Indian Army, Indian Navy, or Indian Air Force, so this is the best part. You should join DRDO. You will work with all the three. Now, how DRDO consumes the students? Like first is the scientist. Okay, for the scientist, BTech and MTech is required, and then is the key. I'll just come across later on. In this particular scientific field, generally mechanical electronic software, generally 60 to 80% of the vacancy is being consumed by these three posts. These are known as green. Evergreen branches, mechanical, electronics, and software. They are known as evergreen branches. So 60 to 80% vacancy dedicated to them only. Then, of course, electrical, chemical, civil, metallurgy, they are also consumed, but in lesser quantity. And of course, civil engineering is also required to provide the structural, building structural, and all those things. We do have technicians also for technical. They are known as technical assistant to scientists, and for that diploma or equivalent, and we call it a technical assistant. So I'll come across. Then we have got a research scholar also. We take research scholar in the form of GRF, SRF, and research associates. And then, of course, it has been taken by respective labs and research centers. And now I'll go through a brief details for this. Now, how you can enter into DRDO? There are few gateways that you have to understand it very clearly. What are the various gateways? Thus, you can enter. First is that you can enter through direct entry for scientists. There is one SAT test, scientist entry test. Now the post will be class 1 officers. It will be a class 1 officer. You will be taken as a scientist B. Okay, you will be taken as a scientist B. Requirement is first class B or BTech in various disciplines of engineering. And the mode of selection is got that DRDO generally gives DRDO gives the entrance exam. There's one entrance exam. Or there will be a gate. If you are a gate qualified, then there is no need to go for the entrance examination, to best of my knowledge. And this is advertised every in the month of June only, every year. So again, I'm repeating, if you are gate qualified, there is no need to go for entrance examination. And of course, all these rules and regulation keeps on changing. It is not necessary that what I am trying to tell you will be always true. It depends upon the day on which the advertisements are advertised. So this is just a brief which I'm giving you. Then comes the campus selection. Campus selection is recruited from very prestigious engineering colleges, NITs and IITs, and I was very fortunate to be through this campus selection only when I was in the final year of my college. Of course, I was among the ranker. But one thing is very clear that in campus selection, if somebody is having a backlog in any semester, he is not entitled to sit in the campus selection. So that is again I'm tell you. So please don't do mistakes in what generally does student does the mistake is that suppose I want to appear for any exam, say physics in the first semester, and if I see that I can secure, I'm very good in physics, but this time due to my misfortunate or whatever you say, I can score only up to 60% marks. But I'm very good in physics and I'm very confident that next time when I appear in supplementary exam, I can get 85 to 90%. So what generally people does is that they just scrap the question paper and they come out. This is what exactly happened into one of my batchmate. Then what happens is that he will have one backlog of physics in that particular semester. So that guy is not entitled to sit in the campus selection of DRDO. Remember this thing. Don't do these stupid mistakes again. You have to clear in the first cut. Even though he was a topper of that batch, but he couldn't sit with me in that particular selection board because he has got one. Of course, in the later stage, he cleared with 95% marks in physics. He was right. But this sort of things comes in, this sort of criteria will be always there. So you people have to be very cautious while taking any steps, any decisions during your college time. And it implies to the post-graduate students also who are doing MTechs from various IITs and NITs. The same formula and same funda will apply over here. So all the students, my request to you is that please don't do such things. You have to be very cautious and you have to clear all the subjects in the first go. Then comes the registration of students with the scholastic aptitude, that is known as ROSA. This is for the students who has done the PhDs. Okay, so they are generally recruited directly as a scientist C, because since doing PhDs, it will take a lot of time. From BTech it will take 4 years, again MTech 6 years, PhD it will take more than 10 to 11 years. So what government has created is that they can directly join to scientist C. They can, this also, and there's a provision for this, and so many colleagues, my colleagues have been joined as a scientist C directly after doing the PhD. So all the PhD students who are watching this, who are seeing this, and they have got the opportunity also. And there is one more thing, this definitely is not applied to us for NRS, I will just skip this. Then there is one lateral entry also. The lateral entry means, suppose I'm working in some private company at a particular post. I want to join, I'm thrilled with DRDO, to work with DRDO. So I can directly join as a scientist E, scientist F, scientist G, up to scientist G also we can join. Now, sometimes some of the labs, they give the fellowships also for like our Aeronautical Research and Development Board. They provide fellowships for scientist B, and the qualification is BTech and MTech for aeronautical engineers. I was just going through the few of the students they have done in aeronautical engineering, but the problem is that nowadays people does in the core subject, and once they are not getting the core industries, they just switch over. They switch over to the software. I will not recommend that. Things are not easy. Nothing comes on the platter. Everybody has to wait. After doing my 10+2, I waited for 2 years. Everybody waited. Tashi has also waited. I know he was my junior in school. We all waited. For getting also, I was fortunate enough that I got job in the 7th semester, but it's not true. People, I know people, he is one of them. Tashi has joined ISRO after graduation, and he was doing his job in our Ladakh region. So he also wasted 2 years. I will not say waste. He was preparing for it. So nothing comes on the platter. You have to have patience in order to make your patient go. Okay, you have to have patience also. That is very important. So my sincere advice to all of you students is that please have patience and don't lose your heart. We belong to the same community, same place. I did schooling from Moravian Mission School. Then I did schooling from higher secondary school. My father was completely illiterate person. My mother is bilkul anguda chap. So we don't have any educational background. My family is zero educational background, but we reached to this level. Why not you? You all will, inshallah, you all will reach to this level, but you should have a sincerity and dedication. This too is very important. There is no shortcut. Once again, I'm repeating. Everybody has to be. Pardon? So now this is now very important slides, because I've seen so many students who has done graduate and participants particularly. They have done graduate and they have done postgraduate, and some are PhDs also. How they can enter into DRDO. So what DRDO generally publish is for research fellowships. Now this is a very good opportunity for all of you, because once you are entered in DRDO with say as a junior research fellow, then for job interviews, though it's not a permanent, it won't be a permanent. Once you are working as a GRF, then after 2 years of GRF, you will be automatically updated to SRF, Senior Research Fellow. Then after 2 years of SRF, if you are working very hard, and if you are very sincere, and if you are having a very good relation with your bosses, whosoever in the labs, and definitely relation is not so important, but your sincerity and work output is very important. then you will automatically upgrade to research associate. Okay, so these are the flashes. 28 years for the GRF, definitely you will get 16,000 of stipend, and 32 years for SRF with 18,000 of stipend plus HRA, and for research associates 30 years with 24,000. But I'm not seeing a single person from Ladakh region who are applying for this post. This is the unfortunate part. Though I'm getting calls from all my friends all over India, and because this GRF, SRF, and research associates are done locally from the local lab, local laboratory. Though there is no hanky panky in these also, because you have to go through the various tests and exams you have to qualify. But at least we can show you the path. We can show you the path, we can show you the way, we can tell you what subjects you read, what subjects you should not read, how to face the interviews. So my sincere advice to all the students community from Ladakh region, okay, you please come forward, join DRDO. It's excellent facilities are there also in DRDO. And now coming to the actual thing, how much is paid, this is also at the back of the mind. It's also very important also. Like say suppose a scientist be a fresh scientist, he will get initial pay matrix of level 10. So he will get a pay of 56,100. This is the basic pay, 56,000. So you can add 150,000 more, you will get 1 lakh plus as a scientist B. Nowadays, I think 1 lakh or equivalent to 1 lakh is almost around 1 lakh. I'm not exactly, I'm not an exact figure, I don't know, but it will be around about that only, roughly 90 to 1 lakh. So it's a good hefty amount for a scientist who has just completed his graduation, and if he's getting a pay package of this much, and that too in a very good organization where growth is super and fantastic. And after that, you goes on, getting promotion. I joined as a scientist B, and after 20 years, now I'm scientist F. You see, for scientist F, 1,31,000 is the pay matrix, is 13A. This 13A is the third highest salary of any government servant in India. So scientist B is equivalent to an IS officer. The IS officer also is in the level 10. So you see, it is equivalent to that IS officer and IPS officer. That is what scientist B is entering into. And similarly, there is a very smooth curve of growth of your career. There is no stoppage of career and growth, with the condition that you should work sincerely and with hard work. And I'm very much sure that all of my people from Ladakh region, I 100% believe that everybody is very sincere. I have no Kargilis. Lots of my batchmates while doing my engineering colleges are Kargilis. They are fantastic guys. They do lots of hard work. There is no second thought for that. Even for lay people from Nubra side, Changtang side, our Saspol and all this region, they are blessed with. We are blessed with sincerity. This credit goes to our forefathers who has given this knowledge of sincerity in us. So there's a tremendous growth in DRDO, and the money is also very good. One thing I must tell you again over here, okay, nobody, we are not born in the silver spoon with the silver spoon in our mouth. Okay, the thing is that in Ladakh, from Ladakh region, we people are not rich. We all are moderate. We all are not too much rich. I know 90%, 95% of people are not so rich. We all are moderate. Yes, people are struggling day and night for their day-to-day life. Nowadays, there are opportunities are open for tourism sector also. That I will not touch again. But the only with one thing we can prosper is the education. If we have got the knowledge, if we have got the education, we will prosper. Not only you will prosper, your family will prosper, your community will prosper, your region will prosper. So my sincere advice to all of you is that you please focus on studies, do your level best. Now I just want to touch about the various facilities in which DRDO provides. World-class working environment is there. There is no doubt. We provide world-class, DRDO provides world-class working environment. Cutting-edge technology we work with. I have got all the latest gadgets, software tools which a mechanical engineer In NASA, we also use the same thing. We have got a very excellent laboratories. We have got excellent trial systems. We have got testing facilities, and the spectrum of knowledge is tremendous. You cannot achieve this spectrum of knowledge. You have seen my slides. It is just a tip of the iceberg which I am showing you. It is just that, again I'm repeating, it is just the tip of the iceberg which I am showing you. We have got a vast knowledge. After 10 to 15 years of working in DRDO, if you are in the core engineering field, you can stand up and give talks for hours and hours to the audiences, to the students. I'm 100% sure you all will mesmerize the audience. Okay. Now coming to the higher studies part, DRDO provides higher studies in India and abroad. I took this advantage. I got opportunity to do my post-graduation from IIT Roorkee, because my wife was working in a bank. So I took Roorkee, which is just only 1.5 drive from Dehradun. So I did my post-graduation in mechanical engineering from IIT Roorkee, completely sponsored by DRDO. 2 years I was just again a student, back to the college. I enjoyed the studentships, and all with packages, salary package and everything was with me. Even I was given my tuition fees, and I was given all the stationery. So many facilities are provided by DRDO. Now DRDO has got wonderful DRDO townships. Tashi must be knowing that where he lives, it's near the DRDO township in Bangalore, that is known as CV Raman Nagar township. Similarly, if you come to Dehradun, you all are welcome to Dehradun. Once you come to Dehradun, you do call me. I'll show you my labs and our townships. They are one of the best townships in Dehradun. We always get professional update allowance from year to year. For me, it's up to 50,000, and every 5 years we get laptops, something like this. We always get. Why I'm showing, I just want to show you all these things so that you people get motivated. You people will get motivation and to join organization like this. Now we have got a separate fund, DRDO Benevolent Fund. That is not DRDO Benevolent Fund. So if something misfortune happens to you and your family members, so suppose some accidental is there, some sort of disease is there, so DRDO provide all this assistance. In addition to CGHS facility, that is also there. Central government health scheme is there, but in addition to that, DRDO also provides you financial assistance also. Again, there is additional increments in addition to that pay package. What you are getting to central government gives additional increments also, just to boost the morale of the scientists. We have got LTC facility which you can avail after 2 years, every 2 years. So I always used to come with my family to my hometown, and as per my entitlement. So now one beautiful thing about DRDO is that we have got Pan India guest house facility. Again, this credit goes to Dr. Kalam. Wonderful and beautiful guest houses all over the country, where you can take your friends, your families at a throwaway price. I have to pay just 20 rupees, and I go with my family all over India, and we used to enjoy, relax, and it's such a wonderful places, where you cannot imagine. In the south, we have got such a guest houses near just seashore only. You can, from once you open the window, you'll see the sea in front of the guest house. So that is these are the few facilities. Again, defense canteen facility is there. You can buy cars, you can buy all these other toiletries and everything, except liquor. Liquor is not provided to defense scientists. And one more thing which I want to again emphasize about this school facility. DRDO has got Raksha Anusandhan Vidyalaya. They're known as Raksha Anusandhan Vidyalaya or Raksha Anusandhan schools. We have got dedicated schools from DRDO, and this school is just like Kendriya Vidyalaya schools, and it is run by DRDO itself. In Dehradun we have got, in Bangalore, all over the India it has got, the schools are there, and the outcome of the schools, our children are doing very good, and they all are now in IITs, NITs, and all are doing wonderful jobs. These are the few things which I'm just projecting you. Because of the time, I will not speak too much. And with this, if any queries are there, you please can tell me. I can try to reply your queries.
Thank you, sir. That was very informative and inspiring. So now I would like to ask the participants if they have any questions. Anyone?
I have texted in the chat.
Ejaz, can you can ask your questions. Tinang delay question Buddhist Ejaz na ki chat ka thua mi du limo just.
Sir, le tene azuk shik dam dinya tejas silo le Rafael yomiro le
Rafale aircraft.
fourth generation Rafael. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Tene azuk shion dupa sale tene che te stealth character boz der dupa yale tene compare churu pa malab ta mapo dul dupa ya han la te ngata China ngapo confrontation te o naning chaz ne tene te Rafael na tene yang gun ngapo stealth mode ot kya gamet kya zerte tene te o radar ngapo kazuk shala shang le te malab low altitude ka drone na ka to detect chamano zer kanji radar ka te o malab stealth mode completely stealth chana le mana detect micha cha sik
Basically क्या है, for this stealth technology you have to understand the radar कैसे काम करता है, how radar picks the signal. Okay, like aircrafts ships in which I worked, that ship is a stealth ship. Stealth ship means it doesn't mean कि हम चंद्रमुखी का जो मिथुन होते हैं वो it's not like that. उसका जो डिजाइन जो है, प्रोफाइल जो है, आउटर प्रोफाइल इस तरह से डिजाइन किया होता है कि आपकी रडार जो है उसका सिग्नेचर को नहीं पकड़ता है. राजा, if you see the radar, it just take a point, okay, उसकी प्रोफाइल को कैच करता है. रडार क्या करता है, it works on that phenomenon of light, ना, it strikes back, वो कैलकुलेट करता है and it says कि वहां से कुछ स्ट्राइक होके वापस आ रहा है. तो जब when we throw a light from the radar, सिग्नल जब थ्रो करता है तो उसकी जो प्रोफाइल जो है इस तरह से डिजाइन होता है, इट विल नॉट रिफ्लेक्ट इट बैक, वो स्कैटर्ड कर देता है, उसको वापस जाने नहीं देता है. जब वापस नहीं जाता है तो रडार विल नॉट कैच इट, दिस बिकम स्टेल्थ, दिस इज नोन एज स्टेल्थ टेक्नोलॉजी. तो उसकी व्हेन वी से स्टेल्थ टेक्नोलॉजी, दैट डजंट मीन कि इतना बड़ा चीज कैसे स्टेल्थ हो सकता है. समझ, उसकी जो रिफ्लेक्शन जो है वो होता नहीं है, वहां से रिफ्लेक्ट होके आता नहीं है बेसिकली. सो दिस इज नोन एज अ स्टेल्थ टेक्नोलॉजी. उसकी जो प्रोफाइल जो है उसकी डिजाइन इस तरह से है. व्हेन यू जस्ट एक सिंपल एग्जांपल है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. सपोज यू टेक अ लेजर इन योर हैंड, ओके, लेजर बोल रहा है ये वॉल देगा तुम, ओके, वॉल पे देगा तो रिफ्लेक्ट होके नहीं आएगा वहां से. और कोई सरफेस पे अगर आप लगाते हैं जहां से रिफ्लेक्ट होके आता है, कभी कभार वो रिफ्लेक्ट होके आपकी आंख में भी आ सकता है ना. सो दैट शुड नॉट कैच इट बैक, सो इट शुड एब्जॉर्ब दैट. वंस इट एब्जॉर्ब्ड इज स्टेल्थ, वापस वो रडार का सिग्नेचर वापस नहीं आ रहा है तो रडार को कैच ही नहीं करेगा उसको. दिस इज नोन एज स्टेल्थ टेक्नोलॉजी.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? No one. Okay. So now I request Dr. Tsewang Namgyal. Hello.
Excuse me, sir. I have a question, please. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, thank you for the very inspiring session. It was great to listen to you. I just wanted to ask you whether a geography graduate have any scope in DRDO.
Yes, definitely we have got scope. You know, in DRDO has got one lab in Chandigarh that is known as SASE. Have you heard about SASE? Snow and Avalanche Study Analysis. Okay, that lab has got one cell at Leh also. It's roughly, if I'm not wrong, it's in Khardungla. If you say go to Khardungla, you're from Kargil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you go to Khardungla, there is one cell. Okay, in Zojila also there is one cell of that lab that is known as SASE. So what they do is that they work on the avalanche part of that lab is known as Snow and Avalanche Study Analysis. That is known as SASE. Their if I'm not wrong, they require geologists. They, the beauty of DRDO is that for every domain of students, whether you are biotechnology, whether you are geology, you are from MSc Physics, whether you are from biology, from all have a dedicated lab. So there are labs for geology also, and you see the previous advertisements of DRDO. You will Google it, you will come to know that yes, I'm sure geologists, I'm 100% sure geologists are required in DRDO. Geologists are required.
Actually, I told you, what about the having geography graduate? A geography graduate.
Okay, you talk about geography.
Yes,
geography,
sir.
to be honest with you, geography you have to check. Geography you have to check.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You just go through the.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, basically I've graduated. मैंने सर BSc कर रखा है, फिजिक्स एज द मेन सब्जेक्ट. तो आगे मैं सोच रहा हूँ MSc कर दूँ फिजिक्स में. एंड आफ्टर दैट सर MSc के बाद मतलब कैसे DRDO में मतलब जा सकते हैं सर?
Yes. If you see, आपने जैसे you are comfortable in Hindi also. I'll stop in Hindi.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the main thing is that you should understand what I'm trying to tell you. If you see, this is all for the physics students. For physics, once you do BSc, there is no option, there is no scope. After doing MSc in physics, okay, you do for the applied physics or something like that, solid state physics. We have got one dedicated lab in Delhi known as SSPL, Solid State Physics Laboratory. You can write down SSPL.
Okay, sir.
SSPL, it is in Delhi. It is a dedicated physics laboratory. Okay, so there you can MSc Physics has got lots of opportunity in DRDO, and in Dehradun, where I'm working, we have got one group which works on lasers. We have got one very good group that is known as lasers, and all the scientists who are working in laser fields, they are from physics background.
सर MSc मतलब आफ्टर MSc मतलब कुछ एग्जाम वगैरह कुछ कंडक्ट करते हैं?
That's what I'm saying. After exam MSc करने के बाद जो मैंने आपको एक स्लाइड दिखाया है ना लास्ट में, MSc करने के बाद आपको साइंटिस्ट बी के लिए रिक्रूटमेंट निकलती है, राइट, DRDO के वेबसाइट पे. उसमें एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन जो है MSc फिजिक्स जो है, MSc फिजिक्स के लिए भी निकलती है पोस्ट, और एक दो पोस्ट नहीं निकलती, अच्छा खासा पोस्ट निकलता है. ओके, हेलो,
ठीक है सर, ठीक है, थैंक यू सर.
अच्छा खासा पोस्ट निकलता है. सो फॉर MSc फिजिक्स स्टूडेंट्स देयर इज स्कोप ऑफ DRDO. मेरे साथ जितने भी साइंटिस्ट हैं, बहुत सारे साइंटिस्ट हैं, उनकी बेसिक क्वालिफिकेशन MSc फिजिक्स ही है, राइट. सिमिलरली MSc केमिस्ट्री वालों के लिए भी निकलती है. वी हैव गॉट अ केमिकल लैब्स जो एक्सप्लोसिव्स पे काम करती है, HRECF पुणे, हाई एक्सप्लोसिव मटेरियल रिसर्च लेबोरेटरी पुणे में एक लैब है. वी हैव गॉट वन डेडिकेटेड लैब नोन एज HRECF. यू कैन राइट डाउन, दैट इज डेडिकेटेडली फॉर एक्सप्लोसिव्स. जितने भी एमुनिशन यूज करते हैं, वेदर इट्स फॉर टैंक्स, वेदर इट्स फॉर गन्स, आर्टिलरीज, उन सब के एक्सप्लोसिव्स पर रिसर्च करते हैं एंड दे मेक इट न्यू आर्मामेंट्स बनाते हैं वो लोग. उसमें फिजिक्स प्लस केमिस्ट्री के, बायोकेमिस्ट्री के स्टूडेंट्स में जाते हैं. सो DRDO में if you are good, now listen to me very carefully, you have to be very good in studies. If you are having a very good qualification, आप MSc करने के बाद you have to clear the gate. आपको गेट करना आएगा, you have to clear the gate.
मतलब गेट के बाद ही होगा सर?
गेट होगा तो आपके लिए इजी है ना. गेट इज द गेटवे, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू. आजकल जितने भी PSUs है, पब्लिक सेक्टर अंडरटेकिंग्स की जितने भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, हर कोई गेट क्वालिफिकेशन मांगता है. Why you are worried about the gate? I am not understanding. Yeah, people are worried about the gate. If you are good in studies, you should not get worried about the gate. आप लोग गेट क्वालिफाई करो. I request all of you, आप सब लोग गेट क्वालिफाई करो. Once you qualify the gate, एक जो जिंक्स होती है ना इंटरव्यूज की, एग्जामिनेशन की, वो खत्म हो जाएगा. You have to directly appear for the interviews then. So my recommendation to all of you is that whether you are doing BTech, whether you are doing MTech, whether you are doing post graduation from any background, आप सब लोग गेट क्वालिफाई कीजिए.
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सर. सर वो इंस्टीट्यूट के नाम बता दो जरा जो आपने बताया, मैं लिख दूंगा.
फिजिक्स वाला है.
हाँ सर, फिजिक्स वाला भी है एंड केमिस्ट्री वाला आपने बाद में बताया था ना, दोनों
फिजिक्स वाला है SSPL,
SSBL,
सॉलिड स्टेट फिजिक्स लेबोरेटरी, दिल्ली में है ये. एंड केमिस्ट्री के लिए देयर इस तरह के बहुत सारे लैब्स हैं. अभी तो जो मेरे को जबान पे आ रहा है, आई एम टॉकिंग बिकॉज आई एम वर्किंग विद देम डायरेक्टली. माय फ्यू कोलीग्स आर देयर एंड देयर इज वन लैब इन पुणे दैट इज नोन एज HEMRL, highly explosives material research laboratory. And if you go to the DRDO website, you should explore. Up DRDO website, it is open. Everybody can see it. Everybody can. We have got और एक नोट कर लो आप लोग, RAC Recruitment and Assessment Center. हम लोगों का एक लेबोरेटरी है, दिल्ली में है
जी.
RAC Recruitment and Assessment Center. Okay. इनका काम ही यही है कि to get the students absorbed in DRDO. इनका काम यही है. वो सारा इंटरव्यूज लेता है, सारा पेपर्स वही सिलेक्ट करता है. दे हैव गॉट वन ब्यूटीफुल वेबसाइट RAC-DRDO तो ना आप सबको मिलेगा. आपको क्या पढ़ना है, क्या ब्रांच होना चाहिए, कौन सा लैब्स आप लोगों के लिए है, कैसा कैसे पैटर्न में DRDO के क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं, प्रीवियस ईयर्स के क्वेश्चन पेपर्स भी होते हैं. उसके बाद किसी को भी, किसी स्टूडेंट्स कम्युनिटी हु बिलोंग्स टू लद्दाख रीजन, you can directly take my email ID, you can note down my email ID, you can call me anytime. We are for you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello. Sir.
Hello.
Ale?
Is there any scope for environmental engineering, DRDO?
Yes, environmental का भी scope है, because as I told you, it's it's more than 50 labs in DRDO there. So environmental science पे भी काम होता है, even laboratory science पे भी काम होता है. We all DRDO laboratories has got one library facility. Okay. DRDO में बड़े हले.
So CFIS is there na, so is there like environmental engineer can?
Hey, no, that's what I'm saying to you. There are environmental science पे भी है. There are environmental science पे. That's what I'm saying to tell you. आप लोग explore कीजिएगा. Basically, I'm from a core engineering background. Okay, I know much about engineering part of this DRDO, but I also know bit about others also. जैसे एग्रीकल्चर का लैब है, उसी तरह इन्वायरमेंटल साइंस का भी है DRDO. This much I'm sure. You please explore DRDO website.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Kaltes DRDO na select section ate मतलब लो ना लो मार्क्स तो मतलब फिलहाल लो सकवा लगा था. अच्छा मतलब
No, of course, beta, this is now very important question you raised. Okay, the biggest problem with our student is that they don't want to come out of the lane. Do you agree or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Why you should say yes, yaar? Why there opportunity? Look, opportunities are there. As I'm not breaking your heart, lay में opportunities है, opportunities are coming, but outside lay there are more opportunities.
Yes.
Knowledge band जो है ले में उतना नहीं होगा. Suppose मैं when I joined DRDO, I was the first person to join DRDO. I got the opportunity to come to Leh. उन्होंने बोला था you go to Leh, यार, there is one lab, you should be in the lab because you are the first scientist from Leh. I just ठुकराया उसको. I just no, I don't want to go to Leh because I was a topper of my college. I was an engineer. That lab belongs to an agricultural lab. I am not able to justify my knowledge. Then why should I be in that agriculture lab? मैं तो फिर state government में जाता. I was better than any other engineer from Leh. to best of my knowledge, nobody was a topper from Leh at that time. I was only the topper from my Leh. So मैंने स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का जॉब छोड़ा. I left, quit DRDO opportunities in Leh. I came here. I don't have any regret. I don't have any, I'm again repeating, I don't have any regret. I have got the knowledge, tremendous knowledge in my domain. So my sincere request to you people is that today I'm here and I'm able to guide you people, and I'll be highly blessed if अगर आप में से एक बच्चा मेरे बातों को सुन के अगर एक बच्चे ने DRDO ज्वाइन किया, I think that this is done. So this is very important. You should come out of the Leh also. There are so many, बाकी सब तो ले में करेंगे ना यार, ले में तो सब करने वाले हैं. You come out of the Leh. उससे क्या होगा, वैकेंसी भी आपकी जो जॉब वैकेंसी, सपोज ले में 50 जॉब वैकेंसी निकलती है, उसमें से if 5 students come out of the Leh who are good in studies from Leh to join any other organization like ISRO, like HAL, like DRDO, like BEL, like BHEL, like HAL, so कितने वहाँ औरों को जॉब मिलेगा, आपकी जगह पे दूसरे को मिलेगा.
रिजर्वेशन क्या है?
रिजर्वेशन होता है. I'm again telling you, now this is also a very important aspect. In all the government sectors, reservation is there. But again remember, आपकी जो criteria change नहीं होगी. For example, I was having a scheduled tribe at that time, but अगर मेरे को एक कैंपस में, at that time हमारे कैंपस में क्या हुआ था, it should be top 3 students. Already DRDO का, मैं that's what I'm saying to tell you ना, उन लोगों की criteria बहुत जबरदस्त change होती है DRDO की. I was the first campus student. हमारे टाइम पे DRDO ने फर्स्ट टाइम कैंपस सिलेक्शन स्टार्ट किया था, एंड व्हाट दे डिड इट इज, उन्होंने कहा कि ओनली टॉप 3 स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ द ब्रांच, फर्स्ट रैंकर, सेकंड रैंकर, थर्ड रैंकर विल बी ओनली बी कंसीडर्ड फॉर द इंटरव्यूज. बट उसके साथ मेरे एडिशन क्या था, आई वाज हैविंग शुरू ट्राइब आल्सो. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, अगेन आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू, इसमें जितने भी इंजीनियर्स है आप लोग ना, आप लोग इंटर्नशिप जो है क्या करते हैं, व्हाट यू पीपल डू, द बिगेस्ट ब्लंडर ऑफ योर लाइफ इज दैट once you are doing graduation and post graduation in engineering from IITs, NITs, for internship you rush to Leh. I did that mistake. I was in HMT Pinjore for 4 months in winters. मैंने वहाँ पे HMT Pinjore में I did my internship, and you know what is my fortunate, अब मेरा किस्मत देखो, the DRDO campus selection में जो बंदा आया था, he was the chairman of HMT. He asked this question, Mr. Shabir, everybody I was seeing, all these students, they did internship training at Srinagar or Leh. Why you came to HMT Pinjore? So that is the additional points for me. That's what yesterday also I told you. Everybody does the graduation. सबके पास numbers होंगे, आपके पास भी number है. What is something different in you? So like this science keep you are doing, I'm again telling you, you should make a very good, report of this science camp, and in every resume you should mention that I have attended one science camp, I did this practical experiences, I have listened to talks. So this will give you some numbers. There are, when we go for selection of students, we see what is different, क्या उस बच्चे में अलग है, हट के है कुछ different बच्चों से. So this is a very good opportunity for all of you. You please try to do something different. जो लोगों ने नहीं किया ना, you have to do it.
Yes. कल यहाँ क्वेश्चन जरा पहले मतलब साइंटिस्ट A B C D E F G, वो तो मतलब कौन सा चला वाला है, साइंटिस्ट A नो कौन, साइंटिस्ट H नो से करनी है.
Okay, now क्या है, when we join, जब DRDO ज्वाइन करता है तो he is joined as scientist B. पहला जो तमगा मिलता है, he is a scientist B. Okay, starting scientist B होता है. उसके बाद after 5 years of working, उसका एक प्रोसीजर है, सेट ऑफ प्रोसीजर इज देयर. फर्स्ट प्रमोशन जो होता है 4 to 5 years में होता है. वंस यू आर प्रमोटेड, यू विल बिकम साइंटिस्ट C. करेक्ट?
यस.
आफ्टर दैट अगेन 4 to 5 years में एक सेट ऑफ प्रोसीजर होता है, हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का होता है. इट इज नॉट फॉर DRDO, फॉर ISRO ऑल्सो देयर, BEL इज ऑल्सो देयर, HAL इज ऑल्सो देयर, एवरी जगह एवरीवेयर इज देयर. देन वी बिकम साइंटिस्ट D. इसी तरह राइज करते करते F, G. Right now, this is my 21st year in DRDO. I am scientist F. Okay. फिर जैसे जैसे आप आगे बढ़ते जाओगे, फिर you become project leader also. Then you become deputy project director. Then you become project director. Then group head. Then like this you go. Keeps ऐसा है ना. The beauty of this organization is that आपको हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ मिलते रहेगा 5 years में, which keeps you motivating. Like क्या होता है, if you see colleges, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर आता है, उसके बाद वो प्रोफेसर बनता है, फिनिश. एग्री और नॉट?
Yes, sir.
Lecturer, assistant professor, professor. There is only 3 steps. Agree or not?
Yes, sir.
ऐसा DRDO में नहीं है. साइंटिस्ट B, C, D, E, F, G, H. H के बाद डिस्टिंग्विश्ड साइंटिस्ट. Then उससे आगे भी जाता है. There is no end. So it's a very आपकी जो करियर है, it will be very fantastic. It's one of the beautiful organization in India. So my request to all of you is that at least you should try. Try करने में there is nothing, you are not going to lose anything. But you should try. आप लोग try कीजिएगा जरूर.
कल गेटर नाम का कल तो फर्स्ट टॉप 10 ब्रांच वाइज है मतलब बड़े इंटरव्यू रखा हो also सेशन वाला
बेसिकली नो गेट क्या है ना, गेट में आपको एक गेट क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए, दैट्स इट. गेट में रैंकर का होता है. if you are scoring very good in gate, definitely it will add. But आप अगर गेट क्वालिफाइड हो, if you have a valid, it's just like you are having a ticket into a movie hall. Okay, मूवी हॉल का टिकट हो तो मूवी तो आप देखोगे. जिनको पीछे का सीट का है एग्जीक्यूटिव क्लास का, उसका मूवी अच्छा दिखेगा, जो आगे के सीट के उसको कम दिखेगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. आपके पास टिकट होना चाहिए उस गेट में एंट्री करने के लिए. सो इफ यू सी ग्रेजुएट एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट, उनका नाम ही उस गेट को इस तरह से कॉइन किया है बिकॉज इट इज रियली, पहले ये नहीं था, पहले इट वाज नॉट मैंडेटरी. नाउ आप लोग एडवर्टाइजमेंट देखिएगा, all the R&D organizations of India, whether it is BARC, whether it is ISRO, whether it is CSIR labs, whether it is DRDO, all Bharat Electronics, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, HAL, everybody is asking for gate. Okay, so gate, once you qualify the gate, then you can sit into all these examinations and chances of getting into it is very, very high. So मेरा again request to all of you is that don't stop just by doing graduation or post graduation. आप पहले gate qualify कीजिएगा. Now again there comes a question: should I prepare for a gate or should I prepare for a post graduation? You do both. If you prepare for gate, automatically आपका preparation post graduation के लिए हो जाएगा. And I am sure जो बच्चा gate के लिए qualification preparation start करता है, he will crack the post graduation for IITs. IITs में भी gate qualification चाहिए. आप सब लोगों ने, I've seen most of people are doing MTech and they have done MTech. So there is also required of gate. IIT में भी post graduation के लिए gate चाहिए. So nowadays gate is a very major requirement है हर जगह. So please gate उतना मुश्किल भी नहीं है. Gate is to your domain only. आपको first semester से लेके 8th semester तक जितना subject पढ़ा है, वो दोबारा एक आपको you have to just go through it. You have to just go through it. ये आपको रिफ्रेश करना है, एक बार रिहर्सल करना है, एंड आई एम श्योर यू विल क्वालिफाई. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
यस सर. कल ते सीजीपीए मैटर छ न लगा गेट ना स्कोर गर्न आउँछ ताले सीजीपीए कल्चस काम गर्न.
आई एम अगेन टेलिंग यू, सपोज मैं इंटरव्यू okay, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. Whosoever having queries, you can email to me. You can note down my email ID and query, and you can talk directly to me also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sir Lay. Now I request Dr. to give you some insights on scientific writing and paper publishing skills. So before you all learn some skills and inspiring ideas, let us know about him. So he is an ecologist with a master's degree from Tromsø University in Norway and a PhD in ecology from Wageningen University in the Netherlands. After completing his higher studies in Europe, Dr. Namgyal worked as a wildlife biologist at the United States Geological Survey, and currently he heads the Snow Leopard Conservancy India Trust, and he has published widely in reputed national and international journals. He was listed as one of the 50 people to know in the Himalayas and one of the 50 amazing ambassadors of sustainable travel by the Condé Nast Travel magazine, and he serves on the State Wildlife Board of UT Ladakh. for his research and conservation efforts. He received several awards, including the ICMOD Mountain Prize Honorable Mention and the prestigious Disney Conservation Hero Award 2020. Sally, please take over.
Yeah, thank you so much, Manas, for that generous introduction. And thank you, Shabir, for that very insightful talk. And welcome all of you again. I hope that it is being useful and beneficial, both in terms of acquiring knowledge and experience. So what I'm just assuming that many of you are into research and there you are conducting research and then you are planning to publish your result. So just to get a sense of how I present this presentation, if I get a sense of how many people have published scientific articles before, if you can just raise your hand, then I would get a sense of the audience so that I can accordingly present. Can you raise your hands, whoever has published a paper before? No one? Okay. Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Murtaza. All right. So great. Only a couple of people. So I think what I'll do is then I won't go into the technical part because I think you won't get much out of it. Let me just share the presentation. Can you see it? Kashile?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you see the?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So this is about writing and publishing a research paper. Anybody who's into research and conducting research, it's very important to publish the results, because many of you probably might be getting scholarship and all, which is mostly public money, taxpayers' money, and people have a right to know as to what you have been doing with the taxpayers' money. So it's very important otherwise also to publish your research findings to get greater visibility as well as to sharpen your own thoughts. So it really helps in all these things. First, the research process, just briefly, I won't go into detail here. The most important part of the research process is the question, the asking of question. It's very difficult to come up with innovative and original questions. That's the most difficult part. So if you look at this schematic diagram in the middle, in the orange, that blob, you have question, hypothesis, and predictions. So basically, either you can ask a question or you make a hypothesis based on the theory, or observation that you have made in the past. And if you make an hypothesis, then there are certain predictions. So I won't go into these, all of these. So on the left, you can see carry out research. For that, you have to identify a population from where you draw the samples. And once you have the data and the samples, you organize the data and analyze them. And on the right, then you write up the paper, the research article. And then after that, the next step is to identify a journal where you publish your result. And then hopefully, if there is merit in your research article, then it will be published by one of the journals. So this whole thing, the slides that I'll be showing in the next few minutes puts together all that information together. If somebody wants to publish a research article, what are the processes, what are the steps that it goes through. So this is the review process. Once you have a research article, you have been, after conducting the research, you have the results in your hands, and you have written up the paper. After that, you submit it to a journal, and journals have editor-in-chief and several other sub-editors after him. So what happens once you submit your article to a journal? Either the editor-in-chief accept it, but that's very rarely, that happens very rarely. So the editor-in-chief can also ask for a revision and or reject it also. And so that also is very less likely. What happens is that once the editor journal gets the research article submitted by you, he hands it over to a sub-editor called the handling editor, who identifies reviewers. And the handling editors then ask for reviews or comments from those reviewers. And once the handling editor gets back all the reviews and the comments from the esteemed reviewers, then he makes a decision and then either recommends it to the editor-in-chief that yes, this paper has merit, it can be published, it is of high quality and is suitable for this this journal. So either he makes that recommendation, or if he is not very sure based on the reviews from these usually a couple of reviewers, and if he is not sure, then sends it to more reviewers, a couple of more, maybe one or two more reviewers. So it's a very cumbersome process. It takes a long time to publish research articles. Currently, actually, I'm one of the handling editors of the journal Ecological Research, a Japanese journal. And so it's a very tedious work, a lot of to and fro between the authors and the editors. And ultimately, if you are lucky and if you have done a nice job, then your paper will be published in a particular journal. So that's the process of publishing in scientific journals. Now, talking about the academic publishing models, usually the most conventional way of doing things is the subscription model, where the universities, institutes, and libraries subscribe the journals and they pay for it, and usually the authors do not pay to publish their articles. These days there is an open model, so in which some of the journals are pretty good, they do good peer review and all, but there are certain predatory journals, they will charge heavily the authors, and oftentimes they do a very shoddy work in terms of reviewing the papers. So oftentimes their substandard work also get published these days, but these journals can be identified very easily. There are some very good open access journals also these days, and there is a hybrid mode also. I won't go into detail here because I think many of you probably might not understand, because if you haven't published it already, that'll be difficult. And while publishing, the most important thing is to identify a journal. And oftentimes it really depends on the audience whom you want to appeal. If it is, for example, in my field, if the target audience to be the managers of environmental managers and all, then I would probably, it would be better off if I publish it in a regional journal. But if it is, I'm targeting top scientists in a particular field, then I better publish in some top journals with high impact factor. And that's what the impact factor is. Impact factor is basically nothing. It's the number of citations a particular journals get in 2 years divided by the number of articles published by that journal in those 2 years. So that gives you an H index, or the impact factor of that journal. Again, I won't go into detail here. And there is a Hirsch index or H index also for scientists. Various scientists have their own index depending on the number of citations that they get for their papers that they have published. All right. So before writing a scientific article, the most important thing is to identify the authors. Who would be the authors on your scientific paper or scientific article, and what should be the order of the authors, and it varies from journal to journal, in different fields, also different. For example, in the field of ecology, usually the first author and the last author are the key positions. The first author being the author, like he really collected data, analyzed, and did a majority of the work. The one who has overview of the whole research and writing and everything, so those are the most covetous positions in a scientific paper. And so one thing that is very important to keep in mind, that include co-authors, authors only if they have contributed significantly to the paper. For example, sometimes the funder, the person who has funded the research project, or the or whatever, stage, or even writing the paper, that person as such, because he has funded the research or the project, does not get authorship unless he has made significant contribution in data collection or analysis of data or the writing of the research article. Unless he has contributed in these three processes, he or she won't be entitled to have authorship on the paper. So it's very important that co-authors should have contributed significantly in conceiving the research, the idea, or sampling, or data collection, or analyzing the data, or writing. So if anybody hasn't done these or hasn't contributed much in these processes, then I think he or she shouldn't be listed as a co-author. So that's very important these days. Otherwise, there's just so many people who get free rights, and that's not ethical. Now, coming to the title of a research article, it's very important that the title should be very catchy, because these days people don't have much time, and the title can really catch the eye of a reader. So it's very important the title is very catchy, and it also enhances the altmetric attention score. Altmetric attention score is the number of times that your research is talked about in various, either through newspapers or in other research articles or in blogs or wherever, they get mentioned. So if you have a catchy title, people will get attracted to it and read it more. Secondly, the title needs to be very precise and concise, and it should avoid jargon. And that's something that a lot of researchers think, that if you put a word that is very complicated and which is very understood by a selected group of people in that particular field, that is more attractive. That is not. So avoid jargon, be precise and concise. And it, of course, should reflect the research and spark curiosity. For example, if you make a statement, the title can be a question, it can be a description, it can be a statement. So if it is catchy, then it will spark curiosity. Oh, this how it could be. For example, you can say, imagine yourself producing eyes, or something like that. So which kind of sparks curiosity? How is that possible that somebody can produce eyes in its body, or something like that? So that's just a way of an example. It should be, it should spark curiosity in the readers. Now, the next step is the abstract, and probably many of you might have read the abstract in all the research articles. And that is that small write-up at the beginning of your research article, which is very concise. Again, it should be very concise. There should not be any reference in the abstract unless it is absolutely necessary there to show that this is one of a kind work that has been done. Which this work is completely based on this particular research that is done by these people or something like that. If that's not the case, then I think you don't put reference in the abstract. A bit from each section of the paper. So the abstract should have a little bit from each section of your research article, a little bit from your introduction, your hypothesis, and a little bit from your study area, a little bit from your methods, what kind of methodology you use to do your research, and a little bit from your results section as to what you found, and then a little bit from your discussion part, about which I'll be talking in a while. And so, and then the most important thing, the implication. So what? I mean, if you found a particular result, what does that mean? How does it contribute to science or that particular field wherever you're working, be it electrical engineering or ecology or environmental science or whatever, wherever you are contributing, how your research is generating new information, new knowledge. So that should be right out there in the abstract. And it is the face of the paper. The abstract is basically the face of the paper. These days, people don't have much time, so they will just read the abstract to find out whether that paper is whether your research article is interesting for them, whether it has some value, or they can refer to your paper. They will just make the decision based on your abstract. So it should be very succinct, very clearly written. There should be crystal clear. Choose words very carefully. Look for, once you have the abstract in hand, look for those stray words or redundant words. Just get rid of them to make it concise and crisp. And then at the end of it, you have a few keywords. And which should not, those keywords, by the way, should not overlap with your title, because what happens is that all the search engines will look for words from your from both the title and the keywords. So if you put the same words in both the abstract and the keywords, then you basically reduces the search engine visibility of your research article. So it's very important that those do not overlap. Now, coming to the introduction, as many of you probably know, that introduction again is the most important section of the research article, where you put all the background information on what basis. Earlier I told you that on the basis of theory or your observation, you have made a statement, or you have hypothesized something. To give that background, it's very important to build that up. And basically, the introduction also sets the tone in the context of the study, what exactly your study is dealing, or what it is addressing. And then introduce the information gaps. Sometimes, there are a lot of research gaps, especially if it is in Ladakh, then there are so many information gaps that we need to fill up, so all those information gaps. For example, if we, yesterday we talked about the geothermal energy. And so we can talk about, there's no information whatsoever on the generation of or the energy generation through these geothermal. For example, these are information gap, or for that matter, any other smaller information gap in those particular fields. And then scope of the paper or area of pursuit, what exactly it is dealing with. Is it in the field of mechanical engineering? Is it in the field of civil engineering, or is it in ecology or environment or geology, whatever, or again, the area of pursuit, sometimes it can be multidisciplinary also. Like there could be multiple disciplines that the paper would be touching upon or would be addressing. So the scope of the paper is very important. And at the end of it, the hypothesis, I told you earlier that you make a statement. For example, in our field, we can say that the intensive harvesting of Sibakthon berries impacts migratory birds. For example, if you take out all the Sibakthon berries, then nothing would be left for migratory birds, and the birds will die out, and that has a lot of ecological consequences. And so that is the hypothesis, or it can be a question also. For example, does the intensive harvesting of Sibakthon berries impact migratory birds? It can be in a question form also. So those are basically the same, and you write these at the end of the introduction, and also basically are the objectives. I mean, if you write in some sort of a descriptive form, then I think even the objectives. So these are similar hypothesis questions, objectives, why you are conducting the research, what it addresses, and so that should be basically in the writing of the introduction. We say that you start very broadly and then you narrow down to your hypothesis, the questions and objectives. So there is a inverted pyramid shape. The introduction should be in an inverted pyramid shape. The bottom tip should have the introduction and questions and objectives, or whatever you call them. And then methodology, of course, that's the most important thing in a research paper, especially because what happens is that once you conduct your research and you make an inference, or you have a certain result, and if somebody wants to repeat that, because in research we need to do it again and again to really establish a particular fact, to for example, make that a theory, we need to do research again and again, and until and unless you have a very clear methodology drawn or methodology mentioned, it'll be difficult for the next researchers to really repeat your study, and in that process it will hamper the progress of the scientific development. So that is very important. Again, the methods, you write it very succinctly, whatever you did, and it's often the methods is the easiest part of the research article to write, because you know what you have done, all the things that what instruments, what materials you used, which areas you sampled, where are the population from from where you drew the samples and all. So you know it all. So it's very easy to write the methodology part. So write in detail with adequate justification of any new method. If there's any new method that you used, those should be justified. If it is a standard method that people have been using all through, then you don't need a justification. But if you're using a new method, then you need a justification for that. Data collection, how you collected the data, what was your population, and tools and techniques, spatio-temporal scale. Now in our field, in ecology, that's very important. The spatio-temporal scale means what time period you covered and which areas you covered, and that's more or less the scope of the study also. And analytical methods, statistics. Now in today's world, it's very difficult to publish in some of the high-ranking journals unless you have some good statistical tools used and some statistics used. Otherwise, it's very difficult to make journal. We cannot get a lot of data. So for that, you need to use statistics. So you need to clearly mention what kind of statistical tools you used and what kind of softwares. Nowadays, there are a lot of softwares also. And coming to the results section, the results sections basically just list out all the results that you found. And again, this is a very the easy part to write. Methods, as the methods, what kind of things you found in your study. So you basically main findings of the study. Use subheadings for convenient reading. It'll be easier if you have subheadings. Otherwise, it'll be just a lot of text, and then if you don't organize it well, then the reader will find it difficult to really understand it. But if you have subheadings and organize it nicely, in the paras with subheadings, then I think it'll be very convenient for the readers. And obviously, figures, tables, and text. Now, all of us know that a picture speaks louder than words. So it's very important to put figures and tables in your research article. And and the thing is that then the information should not overlap between text and the figures and tables. Whatever information you have in text, maybe there are some. So whatever information you have in the figures, some of them may appear in the text, but not vice versa. So try to minimize that so that all parts of your paper are very informative. This descriptive title of the table should be about the table. So these are some minutiae actually of publishing. So I think many people write the title of the table below the table. That is not the correct way of writing for the tables. You always write the descriptive part, the description or the caption on the top of the table, while in case of figure, it's the opposite. You write the caption of the figure at the bottom of the figure, not at the top. So these are again ways of presenting, and there might be some variation actually in some fields. Basically, there are some variation, but generally this is the accepted way of doing things when it comes to research. And then present the statistical significance also. And when you use statistical softwares and statistics, then you need to report them also to just show that how strong or robust are your results. So that's very important to present the statistical significance also. Now coming to the last section, the discussion, that's again a very important part of your research paper. Basically what the discussion does is in discussion, you go from specifics to general, while in the introduction, that was the opposite. You come from general to specific. Remember, like you start very broadly and at the end of it, that inverted pyramid, if you remember the tip of that, at the end of it you have your specifics, which are your hypothesis and what are your objectives. But in this, that's the opposite. You start with very specific results that you found and what they mean, how they are contributing to that particular field, whatever, like be it in engineering, mathematics, or geology, history, whatever, whatever field you are in, how that is contributing to that particular field. What do they mean? How your results differ from others? And so the discussion means you compare your results with the results of other people, other researchers that have who have done work before you. So that's very important again. And contribution to the field, as I mentioned, and then caveats and limitations. What are some of the things that really constrain your work, or some of the things or any warning that you want to issue to the readers that although I found these particular results, but this was done under these conditions or some things, whatever limitations or caveats you might have. It's very important to mention those and implications for policy and practice, and whatever, if it has some policy implications, that's very important that you mention those. And then if it has some appeal to the practitioners, in whatever field, or conservation or practitioners, you need to mention those. So now in all of these, one of the most important thing is the in discussion and the introduction, you refer to the people, who have done work before you. Now there is, all of you know that there are issues of plagiarism, and that's very serious these days. There are softwares, the journals employ certain softwares which can detect plagiarism, the text which you have copied from elsewhere, and based on the basis of that, your paper can be rejected, and you can even be sued actually if you have copied a lot without giving the due credit or referring to the work of people who have done work in the past, and then if you present that as your own result, so that is a serious offense that you shouldn't do. And so wherever you need to refer to the work of other people that have done work before you. And lastly, the acknowledgements. Of course, it's very important to acknowledge people who could not be included as co-authors. They can be acknowledged in the acknowledgement section, and it does not cost much to just say thank you. And it also shows you how the depth and breadth of your research if you have acknowledged people. But this is more in the reports though. But if there is a scientific article, you don't want to waste the pages of journals, and so I think you keep it very concise into scientific articles actually in journal, and we are talking about that actually, so never mind. And references, oftentimes what people do is that they have names of people they have referred to or name of research articles in the text, but they are not there. They're absent from the list of references, and that's really that puts off a lot of editors, and that could be a cause for rejection. So you have to be very careful there. Whatever you have referred to in the text, that they should appear, and vice versa. And sometimes there are hanging references. There's a reference in the reference list, but that reference or that paper is not referred to in the main text. So those kind of things you need to be very careful. And there are several styles of referencing. Chicago style, Cambridge style, the APA, this and that. There are so many styles actually, and that you could actually get those from the journal websites. And these days there are great reference managers who read a good resource. One of them is the Mendeley, which I have been using. It's very easy that you can store your research paper at multiple at multiple computers on your phones and everything. You can sync them all, and sometimes you can organize all your research papers in your computer, and then it's very easy to pull them out and then refer to them in the research articles when you want them. So those are some reference manager. Now the last part, the writing tips. If I were to give you some tips, these would be first of all, the sentences should be very short, and generally, like the research article, we have this something called a KISS principle, which means keep it short and simple. Don't make it big and complicate it. So shorter the better, and that's why somebody had said that sorry for this long letter. I did not have enough time to write a shorter one because it oftentimes it's more difficult to write a shorter article than a longer fiber. Basically, just put a lot of information, this and that. But if you want to really make it concise and very informative, that's very difficult. Yes, I think the most important thing is to keep it short and simple. Keep all your sentences very short, and use always active voice, because that makes it very concise and crisp. Passive voice often makes it confusing. Avoid jargons, as I mentioned earlier. Slang words there's no room for slang words in scientific writing. Informal language, there's no room for that, so don't write that kind of language in scientific articles. And writing sequence, generally, that's the accepted in the, that's what I do actually. Methods, as I said, you write the easiest parts first, and then write the more difficult ones later. So methods, as I said, that what you have done, so it's very easy for you to write the methods. So start with the methods, and then write the results, and then write the discussion and then introduction, abstract in the end, because that's something, as I told you earlier, that you take a little bit from each one of those sections, so it's easier to write the abstract in the end. So I think, yeah, with that, I've finished it. Now, just to see if you have grasped or understood whatever I told you till now, I have a little quiz for you. Excuse me? The introduction. So who can tell me what does the introduction do? Does it do? Is it to justify your methods? The introduction.
No.
No. Okay.
Overview the basic of the title.
Is it to interpret your results?
No.
No. Okay. Good. Is it to justify your results?
No.
No, Karan.
Is it to justify your study?
No.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Who said yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Salim,
Salim.
yes, absolutely. Salim, you're right. To talk about the caveats, I think we also don't do that in the introduction. We justify our study in the introduction. So why we are conducting the study, what is the need for this particular study, that we justify in the introduction. So that is what we do in the introduction, and justify the methods and all. I mean, you can do that in some partly in the methods, and in the discussion to interpret your results, that you do in the again in the discussion, and justify your results again, that you can do in the discussion. So D is the right answer. Salim, you get an award, reward for that. Sometime. Sure.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
So,
I would be
all right.
happy to answer.
Thank you. So, absolutely, they're great. I think you guys are really. You guys have understood the process of writing a scientific paper. I think I'll just stop there. And there are so many things to talk about. If you have any question, I would be more than happy to answer any question that you might have. Manas, can you talk people?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the insightful presentation. Now we will move on for question round, and I request to the participants to ask questions, keeping in mind that we're running a little short of time. Anyone? Questions?
Hello. Yazile Kale. Kale, I want to ask, what is the difference between literature review and then a thesis? I mean, can we start publishing our journal with a literature review, or it is not at all possible?
That really depends on where you are publishing your results, Dolkar. Some journals have different way of doing things. The order of some of the sections that I mentioned you, but the most accepted standard is the abstract first, and then introduction, and then methods and results and discussion. So literature review, that if it is the grey literature or a report that you are writing, there absolutely, if you want to kind of distinguish between your introduction and literature review, some people also call it the background information or the background of your research. Some people also call that, or the literature review. That's fine in a report, but if you are submitting your research article in a standard journal, then I think the most accepted way is to first the introduction. By the way, in the introduction, the literature review, I mean, you can put in the introduction. So I told you that you start very broadly. So in those broad parts, you basically make statements made by people to build your case, to build your own case for your own research. So there's a bit of a literature review in the introduction in the scientific articles. But if you write in a review paper or a report, then obviously you can start with a literature review. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. And about you have talked about the tools which we use while writing a paper. So, how, like, what are the important tools one must know? Like, which are the one thing I should learn?
Rules.
Yeah, like, different tools of writing a paper. Like, first one, we write in write up also, we have to learn LaTeX or something like that.
We have to learn
And
about
LaTeX, it's a coding language
so
through
what
which
about
we write a paper.
I
Tools,
see.
the tools.
Yeah, rules. So again, Dolkar, I don't know if I got your question correctly. Then I think first is this order that I told you, the standard order of the abstract title, abstract, and the introduction and all. And then rules is, as I said, that it varies from journal to journal. It varies from field to field also. There are different rules. And for example, social sciences, they have a different way. Social sciences, the paper tend to be very long actually. But in our field, the ecological sciences and some of the other chemical and physical sciences and all, I think they tend to have shorter articles. We don't long. So these are different rules, but the golden rules that I told you about writing, basically what is your main purpose of writing is to convey the results to the people, to scientists, other scientists or practitioners. And so there, I think it's a way of communicating your thoughts and results to other people. So it has to be very concise, and you should write in a way that the other people understands. And for that, I told you that don't use jargons. Basically, in our case, we used to, I mean, that's in Ladakh, actually, our grandmothers are not that educated, but in Europe, they say that write your research article and give it to your grandmother to read. And if she understands it, then I think you have written it well, and it can be understood easily. And so that's the yardstick in many places. And I think if you write it and leave it for 2-3 weeks, at the end of those 2-3 weeks, you yourself will realize what the crap I have written. I should have written it in this way. This looks pretty crappy. So also you yourself realize that things you could have written in a better way. So always leave it for some time and give it to your colleagues to review. Of course, if they understand, then obviously other people also would understand. And so short sentence, don't use jargons, and active voice always as much. I mean, sometimes you can use passive voices also, but mostly active voice. That's easier to understand and it's less confusing. So these are some golden rules. Sonam Dolkar. There are a lot of others actually. I don't know if we have time to talk about all of them.
Sir, can you provide us your email ID so that if we can ask more questions to you, I mean the participants?
Sure. My email is, I think, is somewhere there. But anyway, I'll share the email ID in the chat box here. Please write to me anytime. I would be more than happy to assist you if you want to write scientific articles. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Then I think we should move on now to our final speaker. So our final speaker is Shri Nawang Thinles, who is our very own director of Ladakh Science Foundation, and he is from Domkar, and he has completed most part of his education in Leh itself. He has done his engineering from Jammu. He has worked in Leh Nutrition Project for 2 years, Power Development Department for 7 years, and during those days he was a part of Hydel project at Stakna and has also worked as a hydro consultant at Ladakh Renewable Energy Development Agency, including many more prestigious projects. So he is now the managing director of Himalayan Renewable Energy and Construction Firm. He is also the zonal chairman of Confederation of Indian Industry Leh, and since he has been actively working in the field of renewable energy, He is also a part of geothermal industry in Leh as a coordinator. And in this session, he will talk about the renewable energy in Ladakh. So, Sir Leh. Sir Leh, you're not audible.
You're not audible.
छोड़ रहे कल यहाँ बंद सुन ले सबसे पीछे हो
ठीक है तजले से तनी मोबाइल से कनेक्ट करते हैं लैपटॉप का मसला है Now is it audible? Hello, is it audible Tashile? Okay, good evening Manazle for your detailed briefing and thank you LSF for giving me the opportunity to speak on the renewable energy potential in Ladakh. Basically, I'm an electrical engineer. Earlier, I was in PDD and serving more than 8 years as a maintenance engineer. Then I quit my job in 2008 and start my own business. Can you share my this PPT on your screen, Tashile? Basically, it was with my laptop. Now it's not audible. Then I can't do it again on my this mobile. Please. basically, I'm an electrical infrastructure and renewable energy entrepreneur. So I started my business in 2008 from Ladakh, and right now